How are you going to get people to call you? The kid show books tell you to pin notices to bulletin boards at the grocery stores, or to put ads in the local penny saver flyer, or to put stickers or labels on your balloon animals, or to send each kid home with a business card. Ooh, parents hate that. Or to see that everybody gets a how to do magic tricks handout with your name on it. And that one works a little. But the vast majority of people who want to book an entertainer look in the yellow pages. It's expensive advertising because it works, but it does have its pitfalls. First, it costs a lot every month, and if you take a month off or you get sick and can't work for a while like I did, it costs anyway for a year at a time and booked about a year in advance. And the prices have a way of rising every year, and the sales reps induce you to buy increasingly larger ads each year or opt for color. Oh, that's expensive. The ad sales reps are masters at raising you to more expensive ads. Practice this response. Second, there's a temptation to place your ad in categories that don't produce any clients for you. I found that putting my ad under the heading clowns and the same ad under magicians works quite well. But advertising under entertainers mostly gets me no calls at all. If you can find a moment to ask callers what page of the yellow pages they found your ad on, you can track how your advertising dollars are working for you. Some people offer, say, a $10 discount if the caller can find the page number. Just raise your price $10, and if that amount means anything to them, they'll find the number for you, and if it doesn't, you just made $10 extra. And never waste your money on any but the main yellow pages for your area. You'll get calls from the military yellow pages, the Hispanic yellow pages, the high school athletic team's annual calendar, and on and on. But a person wants a magician, she picks up the last yellow pages that landed on her doorstep and she starts looking under magicians. Third, there's a temptation to waste your money on ads that produce more business than you can handle. I find that the smallest ad they'll put a box around is the one for me. It's visible because of the box, it's guaranteed to be in the column where the heading is and not out on the edge where a display ad might wind up, and it looks more professional than a plain listing. You don't have to buy a larger ad than your competition, you just have to buy one that a comparison shopper will be sure to include in her list of calls. Study your competitors' ads. Look at them before the sales rep visits. Those are the ones you have to look as good as. And one more thing about advertising in the yellow pages. Calls can come in at any time from 8 a.m. to 7, 8, 9 p.m. Ideally, you have to be the one who will answer the phone when everybody else they call uses an answering machine. I forward my business phone to my cell number while I'm out. That way I can be a live voice responding to inquiries while driving or buying groceries. Often I get callers who'll say, "Oh, I've called several other magicians and you're the first live person I've reached." If you have a day job, that's going to be a problem, and You'll just have to glean what business you can from your answering machine. There are people who do it. Now, what are you going to say when somebody calls? To start forming that up, list the features that make your show worth all that money to a parent. Be able to describe clearly and exactly what you'll do for her money. Don't make it up as you go along. And describe it in terms that mean something to a parent. She doesn't care if you can do a perfect Hindu shuffle, but she does care that you'll make her child a star of the show. If they lead off their call with, I wanted to know the price of your birthday party shows, never answer the price question before you tell them what great stuff you offer. And now I want you to listen as I tell an average caller exactly what the benefits of hiring me are. This is my regular sales presentation. Good morning, can I help you? Yes, ma'am. And this would be in what area? All right. Well, I'm away from my calendar right now, but let's just assume that I have that available. I think I probably do. Let me tell you what I do. My name is Ross. I'm a full-time magician and family entertainer. And I've got a great show, either half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, with comedy magic designed for children that age. And your daughter, what's her name? Well, Skylar will get to star in the big trick of the show, and she will make a live magic bunny rabbit appear out of nowhere. And when we're done with the magic, we'll have bunny petting time. I'll make a really special gift for Skylar, and everybody wins a little prize when we do some real quick games. Is that the sort of thing you had in mind? And that in the half-hour setting would be $90, the 45 minutes is $120, and the hour is $160. But let me just check. In August, we're offering $10 off of any of those. Is that about in the range you had in mind? Oh, you saw it already, okay. Well, I'd be very pleased to help if I can. Thank you. Bye. I wait till a little later to get the child's name because if I ask all those things in a bunch at the top, it starts to sound like an interrogation. And what I want to set up is more of a conversation between friends. And I use that child's name. It sounds a whole lot friendlier when I can talk about what I'll do for little Jimmy than what I'll do for your child. Now, you're selling a fairly expensive service. It's not the most expensive. I had the plumber here for 30 minutes yesterday and it cost me $150. So while you're talking to callers, you need to keep in mind something sales professionals know really quite well. It's called qualifying the prospect, or what I call weeding out the cancellations in advance. In other words, if this caller decides to buy a show, is she committed to you, or will she cancel when she finds somebody $5 cheaper? All you have to sell is spots on your calendar, and you don't have the spots to reserve for people who'll book a show and then cancel later after you've turned away others. How do you identify the unqualified caller? Well, there's no 100% certain way, but there are some factors that turn on my little mental red light. If they lead off with, how much are your clowns? I know they're just shopping for the cheapest guy out there. Let the cheap performers have them. If they're in an area I don't feel comfortable going to, hey, I've paid my dues, I don't have to go to areas where I have to duck bullets anymore. That's not a racist comment. I work every week for black families, Asian families, Hispanic families, but there are some parts of town I won't go anymore and they can't make me. If for whatever reason I really don't think we're a good match, the caller and me, I'm fully prepared simply to say, let me check my calendar. Oh, gee, I'm booked solid that weekend. What a shame. Some performers feel that getting a deposit will solve the problem, but asking for a deposit from everyone raises that cancellation level way up, even for serious customers. It makes them think a second time about the sale while you're not on the phone to reassure them. Now, you can never completely eliminate cancellations. Chicken pox and deaths in the family happen to everyone. You just don't want to be the guy who finds himself sitting home when the client goes for somebody cheaper. So I work hard to separate the qualified prospect from the shoppers. You don't even have to get into the whole sales process with shoppers that you just don't feel right about. If they ask for references, I just go back to the most recent 2 or 3 shows I did for children of a similar age. That way, nobody gets called more than once or twice and the references are fresh. And here's a second, even bigger thing that salespeople have to learn if they want to make even a penny. When you're sure they know what they're buying, ask for the sale. You have to actually stop selling and ask for the sale. Would you like to make plans on that? The inexperienced salesman get out every last bit of information, hopes the customer will stop him when they're sold, but the guy who actually gets the sale is the guy who sets forth the most meaningful advantages of his offer and then asks for the sale. If the customer needs more convincing, she'll let you know and you can do some more selling. So make your case and ask for the sale, but be sure she's actually sold and not just penciling you in with the idea of canceling if she finds someone she likes down the road. If they say, I want to call you back after I check with my spouse, or if they want to call some other magicians, they're going to do it anyway. I don't resent shoppers if I'm really doing the good sales job I think I'm doing. The ones who will love what I have to offer will call me back and make appointments. When they do, all the data about the client and the show, including map coordinates, goes into a database. You can see it in detail in my video about the magic business, and you can see the list of necessary information on my website. Once the sale is made, I have a second secret weapon. This one solves a lot of problems. A confirming letter with a picture. That's easy in this day of computers and digital cameras. Here's mine. My object for sending it is to make sure we're both, the parent and I, in agreement on every aspect of what I'll deliver, what I'll do, when, where, and for how much. In addition, the letter includes a photo. Since I started using this tool, I haven't had any problem with getting to parties and having someone say, "Ooh, I thought you'd look different. This isn't what I had in mind." I also include a copy of my top 10 tips for birthday parties. You can see a copy of the letter and the tip sheet on my website. The link is in the last section of this video. Why send a letter when you've gone to such trouble to describe your show on the phone? Because at least half the callers aren't listening. Or, to be charitable, let's say that they're calling different performers, they've heard about 10 different shows, your particular details tend to fade in their mind. The letter is simply mail merged from some of the fields in the database. And one really important thing. At first the letter didn't work as well as I had hoped. I think it kept getting thrown out unread until I went to the print shop and had this self-stick return address label made up. And suddenly, no one says, "Oh, you never sent a letter." The label sets it apart from all the day's junk mail. Now, some of you are going to ask about an agent. Maybe you've already contacted or heard about an agency that books a friend of yours or says they can get jobs for you. If you're generally not there to answer the phone and you can agree with the agency on the content of your show, then perhaps they'll be worth their fee. I prefer not to try to use an agency because I want to sell directly and to sell the show I do, and to make sure the client meets my criteria. And usually when I hear from an agency, they want a generic magic show with a tuxedo and balloon animals, and it's somewhere I can't get to. But you may find it to be useful. Some others are going to ask about a brochure or selling by mailing flyers. Those tools work best in business markets, not for birthday parties. The really effective instant color brochure you can show a client is a simple, well-thought-out website with color pictures. And for that, I direct you to my website and to my website video. And finally, some of you are going to ask about performing free shows as a showcase for your talent, so people who see your act will hire you. I have seen authorities giving success stories about getting booked for a string of shows at some school system or hospital. But when you're specializing in birthday parties, your act is surprise. People see it once, and the surprise is gone. They've already seen it. They're not going to pay $150 to see it again. Often these requests for free shows come from charities I'd like to help, but they always seem to be on Saturdays, just when I should be making a living, and often I find they're paying everyone else. They're paying for the food, they're paying for the pony rides, they want me free. If a damn horse can get paid, I can get paid. So it's not a showcase, it's a gig that pays everyone but you. If you want to support the cause, one good and very businesslike option, and a way to ensure that your time and skill, your gift, is appreciated, is to tell them that you'll charge your full rate for the show and then give them a check for the same amount as a donation the same day. That establishes your value in their eyes, and they're much more likely to treat you well. And some people will say that this transaction lets you deduct the amount you would have made from your taxes. It won't. You deduct your contribution, but you have to add in your receipt. But it does make it that much easier for the tax man to see that you're in it as a business, not a hobby. And of course, you can still deduct your legitimate business expenses for the show.